A little about who I am. Well, I am a mother of two. I have two daughters, one 27 and one who will be 1 year old in a few weeks. So don't make fun of me. That's a huge gap, I know, but I love them both dearly. And so, yeah, I'm a mother. I work in corporate America. I am a business owner. I'm an owner of a franchise in Fort Worth, Texas, Cinnaholic. And I'm a woman of God, and that pretty much sums me up. How was heart disease introduced in my life? Well, as I mentioned, I have a baby who'll be 1 year old this year. So I gave birth to her this time last year. And prior to that, I was completely healthy, work out all the time, eat healthy, never been in the hospital for anything outside of childbirth, and just completely healthy, no health issues. And with my daughter, I was having to come in to have my labor induced, and I didn't know what inducing labor meant, but they wanted me to come in on a Sunday night. We got there, and I thought she was going to be there Sunday night, but they started the process of inducing my labor. So my labor started Sunday 9 p.m. and I did not deliver her until Tuesday 6 a.m. So that was the beginning of the heart issues I started having. After giving birth, I immediately felt like my chest was just caving in, and the only way I can describe the feeling is if you've ever been in a car wreck and the airbag deployed and it like punched you in your chest to the point of you having a chest contusion, like an injury. That's how it felt. And I began, telling the medical staff that, my chest is hurting, I can't breathe. And they just said, well, you just had a very long labor. You probably just need to get your wind back, need to move around, which that made sense. I had been there for quite some time. And they released me. While I was in their care, they kept checking my vitals, so everything was fine, and they released me. And then 7 days later, I was in ICU from heart failure. About how my pregnancy was beginning to end, if I had any complications or anything. My pregnancy with my youngest daughter was a lot different than my first. My first, I don't even remember. It was so easy. I don't even remember being sick or anything. But with this pregnancy, I had morning sickness every single day, the whole 9 months that I was pregnant, up until the day that I delivered. And so I was sick. I wasn't on bed rest or anything. I could still move around. But I just remember being sick all the time. But no complications. Because I was older, I gave birth to her at 44. They kept a very close eye on her. I had to go to a specialist every 2 weeks to just monitor the health of the baby. So, I was in the doctor's office all the time, making sure that she was okay. So, no complications. She was completely healthy. No, nothing during all of those office visits sounded any alarms. Of course, when you get there, they're taking your blood pressure and checking your vitals, and everything was normal. So nothing to set off an alarm. No high blood pressure, no cholesterol issues. Like, honestly, I don't even know what that means. Like, I've never had any issues. So I know others that may have high blood pressure and cholesterol, and I just knew that they may take medication for it. So, that was completely, I just never knew anything about that because I've never experienced it. I was completely healthy. Yeah, so to take you through just all the steps, like going to the hospital and being in ICU and where's the baby, and everything that I experienced. It came to a point to where that morning I could not breathe at all, and excuse me. That morning, I couldn't breathe at all, and I heard my baby crying, and her bassinet was next to my bed, and I couldn't even grab her. She was crying, and I just remember kind of leaning over. I remember putting my hand, just kind of dangling it in the bassinet. And I was like, baby, it'll be okay. I don't even think I was patting her because I couldn't really move. I was just kind of dangling my hands in the bed. And my mother was there, and she heard the baby crying. So she came downstairs and got the baby. And I just said, Mom, I don't feel well. I'm just gonna lay here. And so my mom, it's like the Lord spoke to her and said, you need to start praying. Like, I don't even think my mom knew what she was praying for. And my mom prays all the time. And but I never heard her pray like that. She prayed for hours, just real loud. And it's like the Lord put something on her spirit and said, you need to start praying. You don't know what you need to start praying for, but you need to start praying. Your daughter's not well. And later that day, my aunts told my mother, you need to call 911. It's something wrong. She just had a baby. She can't breathe. You need to call 911. So the ambulance came. They immediately put me on oxygen, took me to the hospital by ambulance. And on the way, I just know they started with one oxygen tank, and while they were heading there, like they had to switch out another oxygen tank. Like I was barely breathing. And when we got into the emergency room, they told me that I was retaining fluid. And I forgot to mention, before going to the hospital, I noticed I was getting puffy, and it looked like I was retaining water. And like as I walked, you could see the fluid in my feet just slushing back and forth. And like if you press my foot, you could it would leave an indentation and just part ways. So I was really filled with fluid. And when I got there, they told me that I was suffering from cardiomyopathy, and my blood pressure was at stroke level, and that my body was filled with fluid. And while I was in the emergency room, they drained 20 pounds of fluid out of my body. And they told me that, yes, the cardiomyopathy led to heart failure. I was having heart failure. So that's the experience with emergency room. They booked me into ICU. I was in like an ICU overflow because ICU was filled at the time. And I was there for 5 days. It was very emotionally draining because I have a baby I just gave birth to. I can't be there with her. I was breastfeeding at the time. So just within that short period of time, she was already used to mom breastfeeding her, and now she has to go on formula. And I'm just thankful for my family and my support circle that I had, because it took a village to my family, my support circle. They made sure I was never by myself. It was always someone at the hospital with me day and night. It was always someone with my baby day and night. And that's what happened. The baby at that point was only maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks old. What am I saying to myself to stay encouraged when I'm told I'm in heart failure? I was so discouraged. I was afraid. I was terrified. I thought I was gonna die. I didn't know what that meant, and I know my mom was praying for me. I know the Lord can bring you through all things, but I also know it's a time. We're only on earth for so long, and sometimes some people may leave earlier than they expect. I mean, it's just all however the Lord wants it to work. And I thought my time had come, and I was discouraged. If my family stepped out the room, I would just boo-hoo cry. I was still trying to, be tough and not cry in front of them. But I mean, as soon as they would step out, I would boo-hoo cry. I was hooked up to a BiPAP machine, which helps push oxygen in and help you push out, because I couldn't breathe on my own. And I just thought I would no longer be here. I didn't know how to process it, because I didn't know what all those medical terms meant. How was it going home, leaving the hospital, and my mental health afterwards? I was happy to go home. My mental health, like I said, I did go through like a depression, because it's traumatic. I'm sure it's traumatic for my newborn, but traumatic for me to carry a baby for 9 months, and almost she's kind of taken away from me, like I'm separated from her. So it's traumatic. Where am I with the doctors who missed this? And do I hold them accountable or place blame for missing this? I will say that my OBGYN, she was amazing through my entire pregnancy. She was amazing during, after. She did come check on me before I left the hospital when I gave birth. I mean, of course, she came and checked on me quite a few times. And, I had that conversation just saying, hey, actually, before I left the hospital, I noticed my feet were very, filled with water or fluid. And that I was having trouble breathing. And she's like, yes, pregnant women, you do, kind of have that fluid and it'll subside. And again, you've been here, you kind of got to move around. So she explained to me the typical circumstance. So it made sense. After going into being in ICU, I know the ER doctor had reached out to my OBGYN just as a courtesy to let her know. And my OB, she came and visited me. She visited me several times. And she was worried because from her medical standpoint, she coached me through the health of the baby and giving birth. And those things that may occur afterwards, maybe out of her realm, because now I'm seeing a cardiologist and a heart doctor. So I don't blame her. She was very professional, did all that she could. The ER and the ICU staff, I mean, they checked my vitals as they needed to. I think that, as I mentioned, I was going to the doctor every 2 weeks to check the health of my baby, and I think that it would have been helpful to every 2 weeks be checking the health of the mother, not just checking my vitals, but making sure that I'm okay to give birth. Do I need, additional care? Do I need some additional, test? Or we all know when you give birth, it's a strain on your heart. It's a dangerous medical thing that you're going through. And it's a beautiful thing, but it puts a strain on the mother's heart. And so it should be automatic to do a screening of the mother's, the health of the mother's heart, or how's the heart afterwards? How's the heart before? So to me, that would make sense to just add that as a standard for women giving birth. Well, hearing that Black women are 2 to 3 times more likely to die from childbirth than white women, and I made it. I'm blessed, I'm thankful, but it makes me wonder about those ladies who did lose their life, and what could have prevented that when it could have just been a simple screening. I know with the cardiologist told me that although I've been healthy my whole life, and every time I go to the doctor, everything looks good, that I may have had a leaky heart valve my entire life, and that a lot of people walk around daily with a leaky heart valve, and they don't know because it doesn't cause any harm. It's just a small little drip, every day, and it not enough to fill up your body, but just a little drip. And when I went into labor, he is thinking that leaky heart valve, just the pressure, the strain on my heart during childbirth, caused that leak to just burst open and lead to heart failure, and all that fluid around my heart and just in my body. So just something that small that you may carry your whole life and not know. But if expecting women are screened before, they can see that it's a leaky heart valve. They can see it may be something that's leading to heart disease. Like, it's no reason for 2 to 3 Black women or any woman to lose her life when bringing a beautiful child into the world. There's no reason. That's a very disturbing statistic to hear. I'm home a year later. Where am I with my health, and how's the baby? It's been a long journey. It did take. I'm still recovering. I was out of work, as I mentioned. I do several things. I work in corporate America and I run a business. So I was out of work probably about 3 months. I tried to go back just thinking, still in my same mindset of, I've never been sick. I can conquer the world. I can do anything. I'm Superwoman. And it was too soon. I got so sick. I still couldn't really breathe well. And I couldn't even have a phone conversation without gasping for air. Or I couldn't even sing to my baby without gasping for air. And my doctors ordered me to go back out. They said, you need time to heal your heart. And I ended up being out of work, I think 3 or 4 more months. So most of 2020, I was at home trying to recover. I had nerve damage in my foot. from everything that happened. So still today, I can't really feel half of my foot, but that feeling is coming back, but it'll take time. Speaking of my baby, she's doing well. She is beautiful, a handful. She started walking at 8.5 months, and so now with her almost being 1, she's running marathons at this point. She's everywhere, and she has just a personality and just keep you laughing all day. So she's doing really well, but I do have to remember that I'm still a mother who went through heart failure, and I need to still take it easy, because even last weekend, although it's been almost a year since I was in ICU, I decided, you know what, it's a beautiful day. I'm gonna take the baby out and we're gonna stay out all day. I'm gonna run errands, and we were gone from 9 a.m. to probably about 6 p.m. and I was sick the next 2 days. Like, I felt lethargic and just something wasn't right. And I literally just slept for 2 days because I had to, I couldn't handle the baby. I had to send her off, and I had to rest, just from running errands. Just something that simple that people take for granted every day. And I just have to realize I'm still recovering. I need to take it easy. All I know to keep myself healthy and to look for signs from what my cardiologist told me in my primary care. Basically, they said if I find myself like gaining weight, like at a rapid speed, like if I gain even 5 pounds, like overnight or in the next 3 days, to call my cardiologist immediately, because that means that heart valve is leaking and they need to go in and maybe do open heart surgery or something. So that's something that and that's mentally draining. When you talked about mental health, like I almost feel like I'm a ticking time bomb because I don't know what's going on inside of me. So I try to watch my weight to make sure, that 5 pound range doesn't happen overnight or within a couple days. I'm constantly checking my blood pressure to make sure, it doesn't spike up, because again, that would be a trigger to let me know, hey, you have some extra fluid around your heart, something's wrong. So those are the kind of signs that I look for my situation, but no, I will ask about the infraction of the heart. What would I tell a mother that has given birth and experienced the same thing that I experienced? I would say that it gets better. It takes time. You may be used to being superwoman and being able to multitask and do all these things, and it can bring you down when you're like, why is my body limiting me? Why can't I jump up and do, what I'm used to doing? Like, it's okay. You need to slow down. You need to take a step back and be okay with asking help, because I'm one that I don't want to ask help from nobody. And this was very humbling because I had no choice. I had to depend on everybody. And so it's okay. Take your time, heal. Childbirth is a huge thing. Heart failure, cardiomyopathy, all those things, anything with your heart, that's a huge thing. It's okay to take your time and just heal. Yeah. Yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention that my cardiologist mentioned to me to be aware of is something as simple as going to get my teeth cleaned every 6 months. Before I do that, I need to call him and get a prescription for an antibiotic, because he said that it's a small chance, but it's still a chance that even when you're having any type of invasive procedure, like even just getting your teeth clean, the bacteria from your teeth can go into your bloodstream, and I can't even pronounce the name of the disease that it can cause, but it can be life or death. If that bacteria, just from getting your teeth clean, goes through your bloodstream into your heart, it can be deadly. So I went to have my teeth cleaned a couple weeks ago, and I remembered that he told me that when I was like under stress and duress in ICU, but I remembered that. And some people, you may be so out of it and not paying attention because doctors are just throwing things at you, and like something like that you can forget. So that's why, again, these forums and just learning what to do, what to look for, what to add. Like, I never would have thought I needed to think about, get a prescription from my cardiologist just to go have my teeth cleaned. So that's something I wanted to mention. I know everyone's heart circumstance is different, but for my circumstance, that's what he suggested. Yeah, what do you do with the superwoman complex? Of how every woman feels just to conquer the world, do everything, don't ask for help. I'm like the poster boy. If you look up superwoman complex in the dictionary, it's probably a picture of me next to it. So I don't know how to get over that, other than I know that everything happens for a reason, and I know that the Lord will sometimes allow you to go through certain things, not only so his glory will show in the end and everyone can see how you overcame and know that it was him that saved you, but sometimes you go through things to humble yourself and know you're not here because of you're here because of other people. You've made it because of other people. You've made it because of the Lord, other people praying for you. It's so many other reasons that you are here. And so you may think you're superwoman, but you're really not doing nothing but bringing stress on yourself. And so this whole experience has made me humble. Like, now I know, I still think in my head I can do it all, but my body will remind me immediately that you can't do it all. Sit down, relax, let someone else take the baby, rest. You don't have to work today. It's okay. You're not feeling well. Call in. You have sick time. Call in. With your business, you have a business partner. Lean on that business partner. Call them and let them know that you're not well today. It's okay. It's okay. You're human. It's okay to ask for help. You can't do it all. Trying to do it all will lead you into having health issues. So that's all I can say regarding the superwoman complex. Like, that was me. I still try to do everything, but I'm at a point where I'm very humbled and my body won't let me. And plus, I have too much to live for. I don't want to be in that situation again where I'm thinking I'm not gonna make it, and I can't see my daughter get married in a few months, or can't see my daughter celebrate her first birthday. That's more important to me. I want to be here. So be here with my children versus superwoman complex. Superwoman can have it. I'd rather be here.